Ladies and gentlemen from London's Business School, please welcome Professor Costas Markides.
The US Department of Labor estimated that today's learners, and by that they mean 18-year-olds, will have 10 to 14 jobs by the age of 38. Please, do the math. These guys, they intend to change their employer every 18 months. Take a minute to think about that, please. Reflect on what this generation is doing in terms of jobs versus what we did or what our parents did. My father had one job throughout his career, 40 years with the same employer. I had two. These guys are going to have 15. What does that tell you? There's no question, you see, that talent is now less loyal. This is what everybody says, less loyal, more mobile, less constrained, and more willing to jump ship, to move on. How can I attract the best talent into my organization, Costas? I'm sorry, that is a stupid question. The issue is not how do you attract the best talent. Anybody can make a mistake and join your company. That is not the issue. You know what the issue is? The issue is how do I retain the best talent? Suppose somebody makes a mistake, joins my company, and he or she is really good. How do I make sure they stay within this company? And let me tell you, it's not the money. It's not the money. And I'll tell you what motivates people these days, because we've done surveys, not just me, but many people. They've asked people, what do you want from your work? Let me give you just one survey done by Princeton University. 85% of young people, when they were asked, what do you want from your work? Is it money? Is it glory? Is it recognition? What is it? Do you know what they said? What was the number one thing? Have a guess, please. It's not money. You know what they say? Meaning. Can you imagine? You go into companies today and people keep saying that my goal is to maximize shareholder value. Are you kidding me? You know what I tell my students? I say, look, if the shareholder wants to maximize his money, let him come and work. Yeah, I'm glad you enjoyed that. It's ridiculous. People don't, they're not going to go and work to maximize shareholder value. What do they want? They want something more meaningful now. That's the next generation. So what is the first building block that I'd like to share with you? It's what do we need? The organization of the future needs to develop a strong and shared sense of purpose that attracts and galvanizes the best people to that organization. The new employee and customers, by the way, they tend to be not only less loyal, but also more connected, more informed, more global, more decentralized, more workaholics. Now, what does that imply? Well, let me give you just one of the implications. If this is the kind of employees you are dealing with, how do you control these kinds of people? How do you control? So, for example, like I said before, the next time you see your people on Facebook or on the computer, how do you know they're actually working as opposed to fooling around on Facebook? Or the next time your employee says, I'm going to work from home today, how do you make sure they actually work as opposed to, I don't know, playing golf? How do you control that? And my answer is you cannot control this employee anymore. It's so much 20th century word, this one, control. And you certainly cannot control them with rules and regulations. Try it. Tell your employees, yes, you can work from home, but you need to work 8 hours and you shouldn't play golf, okay? You think that's going to work? Of course not. So the question remains, how do we control these people then? How do you control them? How do you make sure they do the right thing when they're so decentralized, working on the plane and so on? Well, think about it. How many of you have teenagers at home? Your teenagers are reached that stage now when they want to go out with their friends, don't they? Yes, they go to nightclubs at night. It's dark. How do you make sure that they don't do anything stupid, like taking drugs? Do you follow them around? You go and hide you send your wives or husbands? What do you do? How do you control your children, in other words? Sorry? Find my friends, yeah. Can I go? How do you go? It's trust, it's values. We teach the children very early on what is right, what is wrong, and then we let them loose. We give them autonomy. We trust that they're going to do the right thing. But again, please note, strong shared values are very, very important. It's the control mechanism of the future. But the word there is strong. Please note, it's strong. Every company I know, they prepare a statement of values, and what do they do with it? They put it on the wall. How stupid is that? We want innovation. You know, it's the way of the future. Let's be innovative. Well, the only thing I can add to it is, that sounds very good, but it's not as easy as it sounds. You know what I'm trying to say? Innovation is not an end in itself. You cannot go to people and say, hey guys, let's achieve innovation. Hey, we need more innovation here. Innovation is not a goal. Innovation is a byproduct of something else. And what is that something else? It's the fundamental questioning of the way we do business. Which implies what? Well, I think the third brick you have to be thinking about is we need to create an environment here which allows our people to question things, to question, challenge, even challenge you as leaders. Why are you doing it like this? Why not like that? Why does everybody play the game like this? Why not like that? It's a fundamental questioning of current methodologies, current ways of doing things that leads to innovation. Many times, and I think this is the biggest disease you're going to find in organizations, people know what they have to do, but they don't do it. And we keep telling them, hey, I told you to get out of your silos and cooperate with your colleagues. Why don't you do it? I told you to innovate, to think proactively. This is the number one complaint CEOs give me. They go in and say, Costas, I want my people to be proactive. I want them to think outside the box. I want them to get out of their silos. I want them to be customer-centric. And I always tell the CEOs, have you told them? Yes, many times. And they still don't do it? Are they deaf? Maybe you should tell them in a louder voice. Maybe if you hire me, I can tell it in a loud voice. What is the problem with people? The problem is not that they are deaf or stupid or they don't agree with what you ask them to. The problem is that they spend all their life doing one thing and you show up and you ask them to do the exact opposite of that. They spend all their time conforming. I showed you the statistics, how everybody loses their creativity. And then you show up and say, but think outside the box. They spend all their life being competitive in the playground, in society, and then you show up and say, and let's cooperate. They are not going to change these behaviors simply because you tell them or because they agree with them. They agree with them, but you have to carry the elephant with you. In other words, you have to make the need for change emotional.
Costas, I'd like to begin where you left off. You gave us 4 bricks to build with, right? And you left off with from rational to emotional. So in general, how good are CEOs being emotional?
Oh, they're terrible. Terrible. There's no... But there's a reason for it, because if you think of how our society raises us, you know, when we were growing up, especially, by the way, can I just clarify? Women, I think, are better at it than men. Women CEOs are much better at showing their human, emotional side. It comes more naturally to them. But the boys, think how you were brought up. When you were growing up, if you're a boy and you cried, it's like, oh, you're a sissy and so on. You're not supposed to cry. If you're a boy and you tried to be sensitive or even study less mathematical subjects, they thought, hey, what's wrong with this? So society raises you to think that being emotional is a sign of weakness. And I strongly disagree with that. You know, showing weaknesses is the true signal of a true leader. Because if you don't show any weaknesses, people will look at you and say, wait a minute, this guy has no weaknesses. Is he God or something? He's not God, so he must be hiding something.
But I'd just like to ask you one thing. You're a professor, and we just heard you, and it was amazing. And I'm just wondering, since you have all the answers in the world, why are you not out there doing business?
Well, so I don't have all the answers in the world. I talk like I have all the answers.
So convincing.
Secondly, I'm an academic. Why should I want to work for a living? These guys. they all work 7 days a week, 9 days a night, and so on. I don't want that. I'd rather teach 3 hours a week, and they get 4 months of holidays every year. But seriously, can I answer seriously?
Yeah.
I think to be successful in business, you need many skills and knowledge, okay? Skills like the ability to think holistically, ability to think strategically, ability to manage people, ability to handle stress, ability to galvanize people, and so on, and knowledge. You need lots of skills to be a strong leader and be successful in business. Let's say I have one of these things, which is knowledge, because I spent the last 50 years of my life reading and studying, and so I have knowledge. I don't have any of the other skills. I'll be a lousy business person.